Hello. So, I know I missed the video last week, but that's because of two main reasons. Number one, technical difficulties. Had some issues getting things recorded. Number two is because I spent too much time trying to make this domain Yu-Gi-Oh deck work instead of playing Path of Exile. So I'm going to make a video on this week. So basic idea, there was some new Materiactor support coming out. And I thought it looked cool, so I tried to make a deck with it. The basic cards that came out was Zeptowing. It's essentially a +2 because it pulls a card out of your deck and then it pulls a level 3 normal monster out of your graveyard. We've got Materiactor Excerpt. That's kind of a free summon because he discards a card but replaces himself, so he kind of special summons himself. A lot of times we're not going to summon him. We're going to shuffle him back as part of the combo when we make Saryuja. But every once in a while we've got a good discard for him, so we'll go ahead and discard for him. But it doesn't come up too often. We do play Materiactor Meltdown. The only reason we play this is in case we open with one of the Materiactor cards. We have another search target, because most of the effects, in order for them to actually go through and do the full thing, like summoning the level 3 out of the graveyard, it has to do the search first. So it's good to have an additional search target in case we draw one of the in-deck search targets. And then we have Hunter Dragon, which is our level 3 normal monster that we play in the deck to get everything going. And then we have the new Xyz. Basically what this guy does, it's 2 level 3s, you detach, and you can add a card, a Materiactor card from your deck to your hand, or you can special summon a Materiactor monster. And then it has some other effects to where you can, detach or turn cards on the field and all that kind of stuff. We're not going to end up doing that. We're basically just using him to search out Zeptowing, and then we're going to link him off and do Dragon Link shenanigans. So I guess going through the main combo that we'll be running through, basic ideas, we use Gigadra, and we discard a card. Preferably we want to discard a card that we can use in the graveyard or we can trigger an effect from. And then we're going to get Hunter Dragon. If we do discard a card that we can actually make use of, it's basically like we went +1. And then we will Xyz into the new Materiactor, detach, get Zeptowing. Zeptowing is a +2. We'll get Materiactor Excerpt, Exarpt, however the hell you say that. Tell me how you're supposed to say it. And then basically we've just got a bunch of stuff on the field, and we start link summoning and doing everything with that. So going card by card, we talked about these first 4 here. Next is we have all 4 Dragon Rulers. Basically they're just good cards to discard because we can activate them in the graveyard. We've got 5 different danger monsters because they all trigger on discard, and if we end up with them in our hand at the end of the combo, we can still activate the effect and they'll discard themselves and we'll draw a card, so it's good for that too. Eclipse Wyvern, another good card to either send to the graveyard or discard, so that way we can banish something and get that into our hand later, because we've got plenty of things to banish cards out of the graveyard, both lights and darks. We also have Graham, basically another Dragon Ruler, just special summons himself out of the graveyard. And we can also trigger the other effects of Graham, negating something, equipping it to himself if we destroy it by battle, so that's useful too. We have Chaos Betrayer. It's another card that we can, once we get it into the graveyard, banish the light and dark, special summon itself. It's got some other effects that might come up, but we're mainly just using it to get another material out on the field. And it's a good discard for any of the effects that we want to try to trigger. We have Red MD because that's just a good card. Special summon something out of the graveyard. Another free link material. We've got Spiral Dragon, also a very good discard. Well, I guess this. The reason why I have red MD here is it's actually a good discard because as part of our combo, we can use Pisty to pull him out of the graveyard. And that's going to be basically the main target for either Pisty or LP. So if he's in the graveyard, it's not that big of a deal. And then if we do have LP, we can just get one of the other dragon rulers or what have you that we can make use of. We also have a Spiral Dragon, another good card that's live in the hand and the graveyard, so it's easy to discard. We have Destrudo because we can special summon it from the graveyard. We've got this Gimmick Puppet card, whose name I don't remember, because again, if it's early in the combo anyway, we can detach from our Xyz monster to special summon it out of the graveyard. So it's also a good card if we open with it. So we have Chaos Space and Metal Foes Fusion because they're both good discards early on in the combo. And Chaos Space we can also use to get an additional card to our hand. So if we have something like Eclipse Wyvern that we can discard from our hand, then we can get an effect off of that and we can get another light or dark monster that we can't normal summon from our deck to our hand. And we do have a couple of different targets for that. Beyond that, I basically just tried to put as many cards that would be live in the hand as possible. One of the issues with the deck currently is that we don't have enough good discards. With this, you want to have at least 2 cards to discard to the beginning effects of the combo. Otherwise, it's hard to get enough materials to do everything we want to do. And we don't always get 2 discards, so it gets a little bit iffy and weird if we can't, go +1 off of like a Pot of Greed or something like that. We don't draw into them. So if you wanted to upgrade the deck, find more cards that we can discard to actually trigger their effects. But I wasn't really able to find many more good ones. But we have Albion the Shrouded Dragon. Same idea, say a Metal Foes Fusion. If we have it in our hand, we can just send either Fallen of Alabaz or Branded Fusion and draw a card. I do have both of these only because sometimes if we really want to draw an additional card and we don't care about getting this Shrouded Dragon out on the field, we don't necessarily want to discard them from the hand. We'd rather pitch them from the deck, send this back to the deck, and then recycle with the Ryuja, the other dead card that we may have drawn. So it's good to have 2 different targets. We also have Diabellstar. It's another card that can pitch one of these up here to the graveyard. We've got a card to search it, so it's deck thinning. It pulls another card out that we can use to take care of some troublesome monsters that our opponent might have. It's one of the few things that we have to interact with our opponent. So it's a nice little package to have, but if you draw, Diabellstar and Wanted, it kind of sucks. We also have Black Dragon and White Dragon. Again, 2 good cards. They add the other one to the hand. It can be a little tricky with Black Dragon because we don't have too many light monsters to banish from the graveyard. We do have Eclipse Wyvern, and we have this Black Rose Dragon from our extra deck that we basically will always go into unless we're, interrupted in some kind of way. And then we have White Dragon, and yeah, we have Shining Star Dragon, but we try to use that later in the combo, so it can be a little awkward if we open with Black Dragon. It's much better if we open up with White Dragon. We have Shining Star Dragon again because we're going to get the Moonlight Dragon as part of our combo, and we can use this to special summon it out to link it off into more stuff. We also play 4 Bestials because it's just a live card. We get plenty of darks in the graveyard, banish one of them, special summon it. We can link it off into more stuff. We have Light Pulsar Dragon. Banish a light and a dark, special summon it from the hand. Not the greatest thing in the world, because again, we don't have too many lights and darks, but I couldn't find a better card to put in place of Light Pulsar Dragon. Same kind of goes for Chaos Sorcerer. Basically, at least Chaos Sorcerer can deal with something on the field. But, I mean, you could probably replace both of these with better cards, preferably something you want to discard. But, again, I had a hard time finding something. Maybe you'll be able to. Next we have Link Belt Wall Dragon. This is pretty good because we're going to be linking off. We can easily special summon it. And if we are getting interrupted and we have this in our hand, we can at least link off and special summon it. It can work as like a mini floodgate against some decks. If they really need to link summon, this can limit what they can do. We have Limit Dragon. Again, for the most part, it's just a free special summon, an extra guy to link off, and so he's fine. And then we have World Legacy World Crown, because again, with all the link summoning we'll do, it's very easy to get this out of our hand. Next, we've got just a bunch of cards to special summon things from the graveyard. World Legacy, Guard Dragon, we've got Premature Burial, we've got Monster Reborn, we've got Monster Reborn 2.0. I don't actually run Soul Charge in this deck, and the main reason for that is that this deck is very easy to pick apart. So if we don't have our battle phase, we're not really doing much, and we don't really need it for the most part to combo off. So I just cut it from the deck. I think this is the only deck I've ever cut it from. But if you have to use Soul Charge to really get your combo going, then you're probably not making it to your next turn anyway. And so it just kind of defeats the whole purpose. We also have Dragon Shrine to be a foolish for the deck. We can send our second normal monster, Flame Veil Guard, to the graveyard. Send another effect monster. Basically, having more materials in the graveyard is great for us because we can just banish them for other effects. We use Allure of Darkness, Graceful Charity, Pot of Avarice, Pot of Desires, Pot of Greed, Upstart Goblin, Painful Choice, all just consistency boosters to get whatever cards we need. We're playing Card of Safe Return because we always summon from the graveyard a million times. We also play Into the Void as another consistency card. Pot of Acquisitiveness, we're banishing a bunch. We can return those things back from the banish pile to draw one card. So it's kind of like a Upstart Goblin, but you need a little setup. And then Dimension Fusion, because again, we're banishing a bunch of cards, so we can just summon them on out. And yeah, our opponent gets some too, but we're going to be making a pretty good board as far as just being able to attack through things, so if they get something, it's not that big of a deal. We play Dragon's Ravine to basically be able to search it off of Romulus. And then for our last card, we have Arch-Nemesis Protoss, because, well, we play basically every attribute, so it's really easy to get him out if he's in our hand, and sometimes that's just good enough to at least stop one opponent. So now for the extra deck, basic idea, like I said, through our beginning combo, we're going to go into this XYZ. Once we get enough guys out, we're going to go into Romulus, which is going to get us Dragon Ravine. Now, between Dragon Ravine and everything else we have in our hand from that, if we had some good discards, we shouldn't have any issue getting out 2 extra dragons for LP and Pisty. Once we get LP and Pisty, we're going to special summon Red MD, get somebody else from the field, and we're actually going to link off into Saryuja. And so that's where I say that it's not too big of a deal if you get some things like say your Wanted or a Branded Fusion or anything like that that you really can't make use of, because you're going to draw 4, you're going to put 3 back, and that's why it's only really important to get 2 discards, because if you really look at it, we're going to be discarding 1, 2, 3 times through our beginning combo. And so as long as we have 2 good discards, we just send one of the other ones back, whether that's Dragon Ravine or Materiactor Exarpt, which is probably going to be the card that we send back because this adds Hunter Dragon, which normally isn't very useful at that point. So we'll end up sending this guy back to the deck more often than not and replacing it with another better card after we get Saryuja. Once we get Saryuja out, we can get Guard Dragon Agrippin by using the other LP or Pisty, and just getting an additional guy out to special summon Agrippin. Then we can get our Moonlight Dragon out. And that's going to allow us to link off into a link 4. I'm using Burl Sword Dragon as my normal link 4 that I go into because it's got an up arrow and a left arrow. And that is relevant because I'd like to have a U-link where everything's connected, because at the end we can summon Pentastag, which means that everything gets piercing, which is pretty good, especially if we had to use Dimension Fusion and our opponent summoned a bunch of things in defense. We can still probably kill somebody. Now after that, hopefully you got enough stuff left in your hand and enough stuff in the graveyard to be able to make things like SP Little Knight. After SP Little Knight, you'll make Protect Code, I think that's this guy's name, which is going to protect all of our link 4s from destruction. And then if you've got 2 more materials, you go into Pentastag as the top of your other U-link. Some really crazy hands, you can go into Nightmare Unicorn or Burl Sword Dragon and make something like even maybe Hieratic Seal if you don't need the piercing, so you've got another pop. You can go into Blaze Supreme, Ruler of all Dragons. If, say, you've got your full U-link and you still have 2 more Dragon Rulers, you can go into this. Another guy that can destroy something. And it's just pretty useful. So, all in all, it's not a terrible deck, but it's very fragile. It's very difficult to get the full combo off, and if you don't get it all off, you're probably not doing much after that. But basically what you want to do is you want to U-link. Hopefully that messes up one person because they can't link summon. You want to try to kill one other guy with your battle phase, and then hope that the third guy just doesn't have enough to fully break your board. And that's probably not going to happen. And that's what I found. If we're going to do a couple of opening hands, just going through the combos to show you what the deck can do. But for the most part, someone's going to have something. It's going to stop you. You're not going to quite get to the full end board. And then you're just going to be picked apart by everybody very quickly. So it's not a very good deck, but it is a fun deck. So let's go and do a couple of, we'll probably just do one. We'll do one good test. Alright, here we go. It took a minute to get everything loaded, but we're here now. This is a pretty good hand. I am not going to immediately trigger Upstart Goblin because we're going to be searching through our deck a couple of times. I want to get those cards out before I trigger Upstart Goblin, because it really sucks if you draw into like Dragon's Ravine and then you don't get the plus off of Romulus. But we're going to normal summon Bugren. We'll go ahead and discard Red MD. That's going to get us our normal level 3 from the deck in Hunter Dragon. And we're going to immediately summon. I'm just going to pull the cards over here because it's very difficult to make everything work right and untap for that. Once we summon, we are going to immediately detach Hunter Dragon. Again, as part of one of the cards we get, we can't add Hunter Dragon back. And actually, the first card we're going to get, we need Hunter Dragon in the graveyard to be able to special summon it. So it's very important we detach Hunter Dragon and not to the deck master. So now we're going to special summon Zeptowing from the deck. Zeptowing is then going to add 1 Materiactor card from deck to hand. We are going to use Excerpt. Again, so if we had drawn one of these cards before, we would have needed to have one additional target. That's why we have Materiactor Meltdown. If you don't want to take that into account, you can pull it out, put something better in there, but I prefer not to be able to break by getting, the one of 2 cards in my opening hand. And then after that, it's going to special summon Hunter Dragon from the deck. We're then going to link both of these off. And we are going to get out Romulus. And then it's going to add from deck to hand, Dragon Ravine. And then here, so we've got one other good discard, so I'm just going to use Dragon Ravine. We're going to discard Destrudo. And we're going to send a Dragon Ruler from deck to graveyard. It doesn't really matter which one, because we're just going to be special summoning, so it doesn't matter what the other effects are right now. Alright, so now at this point in time, we can special summon Excerpt if we need to. It's not preferred, obviously, because we don't have the best targets for it, or the best discard targets. We'd rather keep these in hand. We can discard, or we can banish these 2 Materiactors to try to get Blaster out. We've got Destrudo, so that's our 2 materials right there, if we really need them. But before we go through all of that, I think I am going to Upstart Goblin to see if we can get another good card in our hand. So we've already done some searching, so we're less likely to just get a break from this. And I'd say that's pretty good. Let me see, I'm just double checking this and making sure I'm reading it right. Yeah, so I can just special summon from my hand in defense position to a zone link monster 2. I can't really use that right now. The reason being is that both of the guard dragons that we need to summon are going to require a dragon monster. And level 4 lower, so that's why I can't use this guy. Oh, which actually that reminds me, so. Yeah, so okay, so I can't use Blaster to get my Dragon Link plays going. So, and I can't really use this guy, Limit Dragon, because he's too high of a level. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to trigger, Excerpt, discard, Flame Bell card. This is going to add Hunter Dragon to my hand, and a special summon our Materiactor. And now I'm going to have to use Destrudo. Yeah, because it reduces this card's level to the card level of the target monster. So I'm going to target our Materiactor, special summon Destrudo. He's now level 3, and we lose half our life points. But well worth it, because now we're going to link both of these off. This guy's not going to the graveyard, right? Yeah, place it on the bottom of the deck when it leaves the field, so we'll go ahead and we'll start off with getting, as soon as it loads, Pissy. We will send Destrudo to the bottom of the main deck, and we'll get out LP. And now we're good to go, so we're going to trigger Pissy, we're going to get out Red MD. Red MD is going to trigger special summon guy from the graveyard. We'll go ahead and do one of the Dragon Rulers. And then now, since we use Pissy, we're going to go ahead and use a Dragon Ruler, Pissy, Red MD, and Romulus. And we're going to get out Saryuja. Saryuja's going to trigger. We're going to draw 4 cards. And, on deck. We're going to trigger Saryuja, and we're going to draw 4 cards. And, okay, so White Dragon's a good one. The dangers aren't particularly great right now because we don't have another discard to trigger them. So I think both of those are going to go to the bottom of the main deck. And then, let's see, so, yeah, we can special summon 1 monster from our hand. That guy's a free special summon. And so, we'll probably just put Hunter Dragon back, because there's really no use for him. So those are the 3 that we sent back. So now we're going to use LP. And we're going to get from the deck, special summon it, we'll get another Dragon Ruler. Let me read Agripin, make sure I do this right. Yeah, so Agripin is just 2 dragon monsters, which we now have, so we'll go ahead and link both of these off. Getting Agripin, immediately trigger Agripin, getting out Moonlight Dragon, trigger Moonlight Dragon's effect. Again, I like to use Moonlight Dragon because the Light Dragon, it has a relevant effect when it gets summoned, but if you want to replace it with something else, there's probably something else there you can use. And then we're going to link these 4 off for our Borrelsword Dragon. And so now, let me think. So I'm going to assume Limit Dragon is live, that I can special summon it. Even if it's not, we can use Saryuja to special summon it out. We've got World Legacy, World Crown, which we can special summon. Chaos Sorcerer is live, and we have White Dragon. That's 4 extra materials. We've got 2 Dragon Rulers that we haven't used the effect of yet, so that's a total of 6 additional materials. Oh yeah, and the Giga Friend should have gone back to the graveyard earlier. So that's not great, because we need 7 additional materials to do the full U-Link combo. And so it's really dependent on what we draw off of Pot of Acquisitiveness. And so because it's dependent on that, I'm going to go ahead and start banishing stuff. So that way I can trigger the Pot of Acquisitiveness to see what we can get. Yeah, sure, we'll banish this guy, and we'll banish this guy for the other Dragon Ruler. We'll go ahead and link them off for SP Little Knight. And then we're going to trigger the pot. We're definitely going to send back Disney, just to have another card. We'll send back Romulus, because it's a win if we do draw into, say, Protoss, that could be relevant. And we'll send the Water guy back, because I think we have another fighter in there already, and that could also become relevant. And let's see what we get. Ooh, oh wait, no, actually, White Dragon is going to get us an additional material too, because when we leave the field, we can get Black Dragon. So we actually already had it anyway, but now we've got an additional dragon that we can special summon out. So now we're good. I'll go ahead and special summon World Legacy. We will banish a Dark to get out White Dragon as soon as untap will let me. There we go. And then we're going to say that Limit Dragon is good to go. It is live. If not, we would use Saryuja to get it out. And we're going to link 3. And we are going to get the guy. And we're going to add Black Dragon to our hand. There we go. And then we'll go ahead and use Black Dragon, banishing this light. Special summon himself. And we'll go ahead and banish a light and a dark to get Chaos Sorcerer out. There we go. I think Untap figured out what it was doing. Yep. And so what we'll do is we'll link both of these off. And we'll get out the Stag. And so we've got 1 card extra in our hand. We don't really need to use it. I'm not entirely sure what we'd get anyway. It probably would have been better if I left Chaos Orc in my hand, used it as gotten another low-level dragon, linked that off, and then we could at least have Chaos Orc out on the field. But that's neither here nor there. This is the kind of basic combo that you're going for. This guy protects your 2 big level 4s, link 4s. We've got SP Little Knight for a little bit of interaction, and then we have Stag for piercing. Again, if we don't need the piercing, we can always go into Heraldic Seal. The reason why we play Nightmare Unicorn is sometimes, kind of like right now, we technically have an additional material we could use. And if you had another card in hand on top of that, you could discard to Nightmare Unicorn, pop a card, draw a card, especially for the dead card in hand. If you still have a dead card and you're trying to get rid of something better, you can do that with Nightmare Unicorn. And with some really crazy hands, we can even get Portal Borreload Dragon out instead of SP Low Knight, and so then this guy's protecting 3 big Link 4s, and they have piercing. But that's the basic combo for the deck, and the idea is get this out, hope it stops one opponent from link summoning, hope you can kill another guy, and hope the last guy is able to destroy everything that you have. And you do have one interaction at least. You can get some more, like I said, depending on what you had in hand. If you needed to, if we wanted to, if we didn't need the piercing, we could have gone to Right Seal, and that would have been another point of interaction. If we didn't need to use Dragon Rollers, or if we had 2 more in our graveyard, we could go into Blaze, and that's another point of interaction. Even if it's on our turn, we can at least destroy like a spell trap or something. So it's really a one-note deck. You do this combo, you hope for the best, and that's about it. But it's a fun deck. I haven't won with it yet. Maybe you will. Maybe you can upgrade it to where it's a little bit better. Let me know in the comments.